The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. My name is Paul Solano of the PS&L Marketing Group. This is season number 2, show number 7, and it's happening right now. I'm excited to bring you another great season with my network of very knowledgeable contributors. We will continue to keep it real, hot and timely, South Shore and Cape and Islands base, North Shore reference, but definitely full of Paul pondering thoughts. And as you probably already know, I also wear another hat as general manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden. A huge shout out to Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app. So hello to Chef Felipe. And as always, we have lots of activity going on at Pearl Street Station. I know I always say it, but it is true. As Malden's longest running restaurant of 40 years, we have incredible staying power in the greater Boston area and the North Shore. Please venture over the Zakin Bridge and visit us. Now, Chef Felipe, that meatloaf you made on Wednesday night was just so flavorful and all spiced up. You know what? You know that I am not a meatloaf fan. I do like his music, but for the most part,
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Okay, this is true.
Yay.
This is true. Thank you, Tim. But anyways, Tim McKenney, that meatloaf that Chef Felipe made was so flavorful, and it was a big hit. It really was. You'll have to try it one day when you come up to Malden.
Hey, yeah.
Absolutely. And also, we'll have to wait on your jazz brunch menu until April 19th because of this incoming storm, the storm that we're getting. We want everyone to be safe, and we have rescheduled Scott Albertson and John Babowen's jazz brunch from tomorrow to April 19th. That is Patriots Day weekend. Some more information on that. So Scott, stay safe in Connecticut. John Babowen, stay safe, and all of our guests stay safe. And we look forward to having that jazz brunch menu on April 19th. Now, a huge shout out, of course, to my team of Chef Felipe, Chef Joaquin, Pizziola Ken, John, Nicole, and Dennis for holding down the fort on this very busy day. A lot of people are doing all sorts of things today before they batten down the hatches. They are doing many party pan orders, and that's working out really well. But we will be open tomorrow for the Patriots game with our 75-cent wings and also the pizza slices at $1.50. So, but please be safe, everyone. Now, as I stated earlier, it is season number 2 and show number 7, and it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of The Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Arthur is my executive consultant of the Paul Ponders radio show, and Arthur is out there adding to our list of sponsors. We hope to be picking up a few more sponsors along the way. But Arthur, I want to thank you for all the hard work that you do and all the sound advice and guidance that you provide me. Speaking of sound advice, I had a nice chat with attorney Tom Williams, and he had a great program as always. And that sound advice that he gave about the shoveling of snow and the pushing of snow, actually, that's really best. But also what it actually weighs at whatever temperature and all. But I think attorney Williams and I concluded that people should probably just piecemeal the shoveling at halftime, go out and shovel some, wipe off your car, and then after the game, after hopefully the Patriots win, you'll ease the load, if you will. Now, again, behind the glass, Tim behind the glass. How are you, Tim?
I'm good, Tom. Tom, you're not Tom. You're Paul.
I'm not every Tom, Dick, and Harry.
Right. Yes. I'm good. I'm here, and looking forward to tomorrow night's game, and kind of looking forward to the snow. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, we are New Englanders.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We are used to it. And I always, whenever I hear of a storm of this magnitude, I always say, when are pitchers and catchers reporting?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
What is that,
soon
like
enough.
around Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I think so.
Right
yeah.
around the 13th or 14th?
Yeah, we got all
maybe
kinds
the
of
day before.
exciting sports going on. You know, we got the Patriots game tomorrow, and fingers crossed, we'll be at the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. And next weekend, February 1st,
Daytona?
no, but it's the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. They're going back for the second year in a row to kind of where it all began. This is a very, very old historic track for NASCAR. So they do the couple of the Clash there, and then week after that on the 8th, I believe, they start doing the stuff at Daytona, the twin races, and then the 15th is when we have Daytona.
Oh, okay.
Daytona 500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, my just a quick remembrance of Daytona and Ormond Beach down in that area. My oldest daughter started walking on Ormond Beach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her first steps were there, and she was chasing the pipers, and she just got up off the blanket. She just picked up and she started running after sandpipers.
I love it. Oh, that's great.
It was a great memory of being down in that area. And Tim, I cannot help but comment on your sartorial splendor today.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And what's nice about Kyle Larson's colors, in case you don't know who Kyle Larson is, he drives he drives in all kinds of stuff. But if you're a NASCAR fan and you follow the Cup Series, he drives for Hendrick Motorsports, Rick Hendrick, who's been around 40 years. Hendrick Motorsports has been around. In fact, he lent his cars for the movie Days of Thunder.
Oh, really?
Yes, he did, yeah. Wow. And but Kyle Larson drives the number 5, which most of the time his sponsor is HendrickCars.com, and the colors are red, white, and blue.
Wow, how patriotic.
Right, yeah.
And if Checky Chalonzo is listening right now, he's probably saying, when are you getting Tim on a podcast? He could talk about so many things. He's so talented.
We'd lose track of time. We'd run out of time, I think. Yeah.
Well, we try to keep those podcasts to the sweet 15 to 17 on that.
All right.
Wonderful. And we're going to actually go into our segment. I see that this is time for the Pod Pro Entertainment Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Miss Shelley Wolf, global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment, vice president of technology literacy for Pod Pro Entertainment, a past Paul Ponders guest, episode number 35. Shelley Wolf, you're on the line.
Good morning, Paul. How are you doing today?
I am doing well, Shelley. Thanks for calling in, and as always, being part of the Paul Ponders radio show.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure. So
Absolutely.
It's a real honor to be here.
Well, thank you. And as always, people stop me on the street. They stop me at the restaurant and say, that Shelley Wolf is so knowledgeable. She's so smart. And I'm like saying, she really is. She is smart and all. And she came up with an idea of introducing not only the techie tips, but also a myth of the week and all. So, Shelley, why don't you take it away for our listeners in Paul Ponders land?
Great. Well, absolutely. Today we are thinking about, as we're coming to a closing of the month of the year, for the first month of the year, I should say, and look at what's happening. Winter is on its way, which often reminds us of who's in charge when it comes to major storms. So snow, ice, strong winds, possible outages is exactly when technology is very important for your pockets and can keep you safe. So if you know how to use it before you need it, that is the key. So today's tech tip is going to be about storm readiness, preparing your devices, knowing whether your phones actually have a satellite emergency feature. It's something we haven't talked about, and using that travel safety app so that you don't get caught off guard. So prepare your tech before snow starts. Again, before this storm hits, we know it's going to be a big weekend and, wishing everybody safety out there. But again, think about fully charging all your devices, from your phones, your tablets, your computers, those portable charger, backup battery packs. Gather charging cords all into one place. Make sure you have a flashlight. Turn on your battery save mode and your low power mode, depending on what type of phone you have. And remember, cold weather drains batteries faster, so preparation really matters. You are also consumed with tech as reminders, but you also want to make sure that you're setting your faucets to drip so that, you don't have freezing pipes because that can be very damaging as well. So just want to remind people of that. One thing we also want to talk about today is how to check if your phone has that satellite or what we might call SOS feature. Some newer phones can connect to satellites for emergency messages when cell service is down. This is important not just for the type of weather, but also as we have begun to see a lot more phone outages from providers around the country. So if you're on an iPhone, the one thing you want to do is open your settings and tap Emergency SOS, or look for Emergency SOS via satellite and enable that. If you're on an Android or Google phone, open settings, search for satellite, or again, Emergency SOS. Check under your safety and emergency, and again, enable that. If you see it, great. If not, don't panic. Most phones will still work with a cellular service, but I wanted to provide that satellite reminder. But important things to think about when you use satellite, if you have to use it, is that it only works outside, and it only works when there's clear skies. This is a way to send emergency messages. It does use more battery power, and it is not meant to be using for browsing or those calls. So again, this will not let you stream or take calls. It only works for texting purposes, and those skies must be clear. So you might have to go outside into this cold. It is what I will call a backup tool and not what I would call a storm pass travel pass. And again, storm travel safety apps to think about before heading out, navigating those road conditions are Google Maps, your Waze, your Apple Maps. These show accidents, different road closure, traffic slowdowns. If you're traveling by air, check your airline flights and track where your flights are. There are great apps out there. The one I use typically is called Flight Aware, and again, I love it because it really tells you where the flights are. It shows you where the flights are, so, your flight may not even be in town yet, and it hasn't even taken off. And they're going to know that before the airlines are reporting it on their app. So it's just really important to check that. And think about if you're rescheduling flights, where you might be rescheduling flights out. Like I heard a client of mine yesterday who said, oh, well, my husband just rescheduled his flight and he's flying to D.C. And I'm like, well, I think D.C.'s getting worse weather than we're going to be getting. So, unfortunately, he's probably going to be stuck. So those are things you want to be thinking about when you're rescheduling. And also remember, if you're going to be out in these streets, make sure you have a full tank of gas. Very important for your car, because a car is a piece of tech and runs on, especially all these new cars, run so much on technology. So make sure your car is fully charged up and you've got some gas in there. State road conditions, again, apps, think about your Department of Transportation or the DOT app is really great about snowplow locations, road treatment updates and closures. Again, weather apps we talked about last week, I think it was, about the NOAA app, NOAA, a great app to have, the Weather Channel, AccuWeather, and of course your local radio stations such as WATD are great starting points for getting the message out of what the weather is like out there. And again, remember to turn on the severe weather, your notifications for those apps on your phone so that you're getting those constant updates, and turn off all your other apps notifications. Use location sharing with a trusted person so someone knows where you are. Location features are very helpful in case you're in an accident. This past week, myself, I had to call 911. Unfortunately, Techie Trelonso and I were in a car accident, and we're not, when the police said, where are you? I was like, you know what, I have no idea where we are. And they were able to use my location to determine where we were and locate us. So that was really great. But sometimes, you might end up in a road where, there's no signal, or, it's a back road you're taking to get somewhere faster. You just want to make sure your location settings are definitely on when you're in the car, especially during bad weather. And before we move forward, we'll roll into our tech myth of the week. My phone has satellite, so I'm safe driving in any storm. And the truth is, satellite features are only for emergencies, not for that risky travel. Again, they don't clear roads, it doesn't plow roads, it doesn't prevent accidents, and it does not replace the common sense. So your smartest move during a major storm is often staying home. Follow your city and state guidelines. And we know Mass is very good about notifying us about closures, weather advisories, staying off the road. Again, remember just to use your phone wisely, reduce those screen brightness, silence non-essential notifications, keep emergency alerts on, text instead of call, close unused apps, and use your radio for continuous updates where internet is spotty. So again, just that quick checklist, charge all your devices, enable battery saver, check for your SOS, download weather apps, share your travel plans, stay home as advised. So before that storm arrives, take 10 minutes tonight and charge those devices. Check all your settings. Download one travel app that you really can trust. And the goal isn't to outsmart the weather. This is really to keep you safe. And so today, these are our tech tips. We're going to end this month prepared, informed, and ready for whatever winter throws at us. Stay safe out there, and we'll be back with you next week.
That is awesome. And thank you for those tips. And most importantly, I hope you and Techie Talonzo are okay and we're not injured in any way. But we'll have to talk
were good,
offline.
yeah.
Okay, we'll have to talk offline about that. Wow, it's it's quite the report. But as always, Shelley, I thank you for these really insightful tips that I'll be posting in the very near future on the PS&All Marketing Group blog, and we'll get those out there. And I thank you for this new feature of the Tech Myth of the Week. So how do our listeners in Paul Ponders land get in touch with you?
Yeah, for those that want to reach out to us, we can be reached at info@podproentertainment.com.
That is fabulous. And also, too, on LinkedIn, I've seen some nice reels that you've been doing, and hopefully all those are going viral.
They have started to hit the streamline. I appreciate all those that are watching and tuning in and giving us the likes and sharing our tech tips across the web as well. So thank you, yes.
That is awesome. So, Shelley, I know you don't have the Philly Eagles to root for anymore, but you are up here in Massachusetts, and go Patriots, eh?
Hey, go Patriots! We are going to definitely be rooting for them. We need a team that's going to win. So I gotta take on that Pat glory that happens up here.
Absolutely. That's a hashtag indeed, my friend.
Yes, and hashtag imagine.
You got it. Well, stay safe, Shelley, and we'll chat next week. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, as Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts. It's time to pay some bills. So let's hear from our sponsors.
Have you tried Bryantville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were three deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. The call-in and text-in line here at WATD is 781-837-4900, and you could also find us on the Odyssey app if you like my daughter Ann in California. Hi, Annie. How you doing today? And Chef Felipe back at Pearl Street Station. You're listening on the Odyssey app, so please take a look at that app if you haven't already done so, and check it out, AUDACY. And I just want to give a shout out to all those nonprofits who are emailing me. We'll have you on either the Paul Ponders podcast or on the show, or make an announcement for your show. But you could reach me at paul@paulponders.com. Listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders and WATD shows. And tomorrow night at midnight on YouTube, and then at 7 o'clock on Monday morning, we'll be introducing, it's going to be an absolutely fabulous episode. It's a podcast, and I don't know if I intended it to be this way or it just happened. But if you remember the book Around the World in 80 Days, I believe by Jules Verne, episode number 80, podcast number 80 of Paul Ponders is going to be with an Israeli naturalist, documentarian, just an incredible man. And his name is Ran Levi Yamamori. And he has a documentary coming out. It's called It's About Time, about marine life, dolphins and whales. And it's a really fabulous episode. And there was a 6-hour time difference when we recorded this a couple of weeks ago. And the gentleman, this true gentleman and a scholar, got up at 4 o'clock in the morning, Israeli time. And it was really a great podcast. So I invite you to listen to episode number 80 with Ran Levi Yamamori, and a shout out to our dear friend Paul C. Swerter, PJ C. Swerter from Gotham Whale, for making that introduction. And it's really a great episode, and so nice to have that international flavor from around the world. And also a piece of late breaking news too. At Pearl Street Station, we have in fact scheduled Gordon Michaels to come back to the restaurant in the Tuscany Room, and he'll be coming back on February 27th to close out Black History Month. And he has a wonderful concert plan, and it's the journey through our blackness. And Gordon Michaels, who has performed at Pearl Street a couple of times and is looking to, in fact, establish a great cabaret room at Pearl Street Station. He has some activities here on the South Shore, but he's looking to the North Shore, and he really does a great job. And he's going to be accompanied by Michael Larson on piano, and it should be a really great journey, if you will, from the very beginnings to where we are today with R&B and jazz, gospel. But more information will come in. Again, that's late breaking news. That's going to be Friday, February 27th. And I believe it starts at 7:30. The doors will open at 6 o'clock. Reservations are taken for dinner, and I think tickets are going at about $25. So you're the first to know on that late breaking news. Now, at this point of the program, we usually have the segment of health and wellness survival tips with Miss Sharon Fillier. Sharon is busy with yet another singing gig this week, and if you want to check out Sharon's YouTube on the Fillier Fall Prevention Method, or if you want to book Sharon for a singing gig, please check out Sharon's YouTube. But on the line...
Does she sing the song, Please Help Me, I'm Falling?
She may.
Okay.
Yeah, that's possibly. I'll ponder that.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a Paul Ponders. Yes. Help by falling. I can't get up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim.
Or I Can't Help Falling in Love.
There you go.
Yes,
okay. Yes. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Yep.
Okay,
There's another one.
Absolutely. Yeah. Indeed. Indeed. Well, at this point of the segment, we are going to have a dear friend and returning guest. The last time we had retired United States Air Force Staff Sergeant Gene Stico on was when he was promoting and announcing his recent book, Unconventional, A True Story of Oil Intelligence and Consequence. But today we're going to check back with Gene Stico on another book that he has written, and you're a frequent guest on Paul Ponders' podcast, but I want to welcome Gene Stico. Gene?
Hey, Paul. Good morning.
How are you, my friend?
All right. Very well, thanks.
Awesome. Yes, you are one busy person, and it's really amazing how you keep it all together in such a great way. And you have some wonderful highlights for us over on the UAP world, huh?
Yeah, interesting developments continue to manifest themselves. So I was actually in D.C. earlier in the week for an event at the National Press Club, which was hosted by a documentary filmmaker named James Fox, who had just come back from Brazil, where he had found a number of witnesses to a 1996 incident that occurred there of a craft with life forms that were on board the craft, and he found both witnesses to the crash as well as a highly regarded physician who examined the life form. The event was attended by, and again, I know people kind of look at these things sideways sometimes or say why it's important, but this event was attended by Representative Eric Burleson from the state of Ohio, who's a member of the Congressional UAP Task Force that's been set up under the House Oversight Committee. At its core, this issue is about oversight and programs that are buried somewhere deep, and as well as a member of the Senate of the Brazilian government, who had actually traveled there not as a representative of the Senate, but of his own accord, because of the importance of this and for the opportunity to sit down with Representative Burleson as well to talk about this issue going forward and everything that's developing, not only here in the U.S., but around the world, more and more coming forward from governments.
Interesting. Now, Gene, if I could just take a quick aside on this for our listeners who are new to Paul Ponders, if you could please reference the book and why all this is really coming together really, really well.
Yeah, sure. So it started back in 2019 for me after the death of my father-in-law, and we discovered 119 pages of engineering schematics, work, and details. And ultimately, over the course of trying to figure out what these things were through 2024, we discovered it was part of the official program of the former Soviet Union, Russia, that was tasked with reverse engineering recovered craft. And so the documents we brought forward have been very well received in one sense. In another sense, have spurred a lot of discussion about what it was governments knew and when, and what's been done with the technology since. And so I published everything at the end of 2024, and it spent most of 2025 sort of on the circuit talking about it and, speaking with physicists, government officials, people, other ufologists, people who have kind of dedicated their lives to the study, as well as correlating through the science what U.S. programs had been identified that involved elements of this reverse engineering type work.
Gotcha. So if you want to pick up where we left off, but that is an incredible framework, and I thank you for setting the tone for that as to why you are truly onto something here.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, again, this is a phenomenon that has obviously long been in popular culture in many ways, has run the gambit from the 1950s through, essentially even into the 1990s of skepticism, debunking, calling people crazy, and all the rest of it. And after really the Freedom of Information Act was established in the 80s, this is when people started seeing that the government actually has spent a lot of money and a lot of research on this issue. 2017 became another landmark year when the Department of the Navy began releasing videos of fighter pilots engaging with craft of unknown origin, performing extraordinary aerial maneuvers, transmedium travel, meaning they've identified them, they have them on video, transiting space through Earth's atmosphere into the water without any visible means of propulsion. This is readily acknowledged throughout the government. The only thing that basically hasn't happened is what they call the Oval Office announcement. But the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, the Vice President, J.D. Vance, President Obama, former President Bush, both of them have talked about this idea that, yes, there are things that we do not know the origins of them. And so with the onset of the technology, everyone has a camera and phone in their hands now. It seems that the ability to deny and not be more transparent about what they do or do not know is becoming much more difficult.
Interesting. Now, I believe that Steven Spielberg is coming out with something in the near future.
Correct, right. So in June, a new film called The Disclosure Day. So there's not a lot of information about it. There's a trailer out right now. Again, there were, if people think back to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, there were a lot of these folks I mentioned earlier, career ufologists, people who advised on that movie. And so there's a lot of anticipation going forward as to what will be in this film about this disclosure, and will life imitate art, as they say.
Exactly. And I believe that there's a few states are in fact going on board. I think New Jersey and Vermont.
Yeah, correct. So like I said, this isn't a U.S. thing. This isn't a fringe topic anymore. Governments are beginning to be more public about the phenomenon and advancing the science and discussions about it. So in the U.S., we have New Jersey and Vermont recently established formal programs to study. Those programs include funding universities. University of Albany, I think they just got a private endowment specifically to focus on the study of the phenomenon. And then other governments, as I mentioned, U.S., Brazil, that was the subject of the press conference earlier in the week. But there's Japan and the U.K. are also establishing within their parliamentary structures committees and organizations. France, unbeknownst to a lot of people, has had probably one of the most robust public programs for reporting and researching and identifying the phenomenon for over 30 years itself.
Interesting. And by the way, do you have any follow-up on the Harvard doctors' work on the satellites? I'm forgetting what that was. Yeah, so Dr. Beatrice Villarreal. Yes. Yeah.
Actually out of the University of Stockholm.
Mm-hmm.
So for the listeners, back in the 1950s, there had always been rumors of photographic plates that so these are photographic plates of space taken from observatories that had anomalies on them, what they refer to as transient satellites of some kind, objects that would be in frames, sometimes not there at other times, but otherwise did not belong there. And Dr. Villarreal did about 10 years of research into this. The main sticking factor was in the 1950s, the head of the Harvard Observatory, named Dr. Donald Menzel, destroyed all of the plates from that time period. And he was very much a anti-UFO proponent, let's say, out publicly, always debunking it. Well, she found additional plates. She completed research, discovered over 100,000 of these transient objects, and had that research peer-reviewed and published in scientific journals that happened last year. And despite criticism, again, that came out about the project, it's now been replicated by two other astrophysicists, saying that the work is good, it's solid, and what is there is there.
Wow. Well,
so the significance of that is these are artificial light-emitting objects in orbit around Earth before Sputnik, before man had anything up there. So what are they and how'd they get there is the big question.
Absolutely. And Gene, I say it every time. This isn't just for this isn't a Trekkie type thing. This is real research by your father-in-law, decades of research, and this is real stuff. So I want to thank you for being on. By the way, what's going on this week or next week? Any special plans for trips, journeys?
Back on the road. I head out to Vegas for a major interview on with a major figure, and I just kind of leave it at that until afterwards, and I know what I can actually say about it.
Absolutely.
But it'll probably be the biggest interview yet.
Wow.
Not that you're not big, Paul.
Okay, thank you. I was sorting. I was feeling kind of down there, but no. I wish you the best, my friend, on this.
Thank you.
And where do we find this book? The first book and the second book. So you give a plug for both of them.
Yeah, so engineeringinfinitybook.com, and all the research is there. It's publicly available for anyone to grab a hold of and work on themselves. So that's engineeringinfinitybook.com. And my other book, Unconventional, you can just find it on Barnes & Noble.
That's awesome. Well, Gene Sticco, I thank you for your service, retired Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force. I thank you for all the work you're doing and keeping the truth at the surface and letting us all find out what's going on in this world.
Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate the time.
You're welcome. Thank you, and be well, my friend. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Well, let's hear from our sponsors.
Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Maniquisett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you. Have you tried Brianville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Brianville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Brianville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Brianville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were three deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email Mike at northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in and text-in number is 781-837-4900. And at this part of the program, we have the financial wing of Olympic Proportion, sponsored by PS&All Marketing Group and Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS, number 410-564, with Mr. Paul Crowley of Riverworks Credit Union and Olympian and former Boston Bruins winger Dave Jensen, Senior Loan Officer. Today on the line, we have Mr. Paul Crowley. Paul, welcome.
Paul, good afternoon. How are you today?
I am doing well. Living the dream still. It's all good.
Living the dream.
Absolutely.
Attaboy.
Absolutely.
Is it cold where you are, too?
It is. In Marshfield, it's very cold, although
15
degrees. Unbelievable. It's so cold, I just saw a chicken with a cape on.
Ah, there you go.
Absolutely.
A cape on, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Not a Cornish hen, but a cape on, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So any plans for the Patriots this weekend?
I'm hoping that I'm not going to be forced to dig out of the snow during the game. I'm hoping that little stretch from 3 to 6 is a good opportunity to relax and then deal with it afterwards.
Absolutely. Just part of the overall planning for your day for the Patriots game plan, but also the game plan for, in fact, securing a mortgage and looking at the current interest rate environment. Last week we talked about the current rate interest environment. So please take it away this week, Mr. Crowley, with some more insight.
Sure. I was trying to think about how to proceed today because, from last week to this week, interest rates are essentially unchanged. Some indicators show that it's slightly down. Some indicators show it's slightly up. But either way, it's not where it needs to be in order to bring more buyers to the market and more refinancing to the market. So I was trying to think about what the overall economic environment means to people who are not necessarily just interested in buying a home, but certainly those folks, but also people who have cash and are reluctant to do anything with their cash. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because the broader markets have been suggesting for quite some time now, as you probably know from the significant increase in silver and the significant increase in gold. Gold being about $20 short of $5,000. Who would have ever thought that? I remember buying 2 gold coins off of somebody back in 2001, and I paid $300 a piece for them. And now those coins would cost $5,000. It's amazing how the gold has gone up, and silver broke 100. I think everybody's probably aware of that. But it begs the question why, and the reason, in my view, and I think this is what economists think as well, is that it's really not the value of the gold and the silver going up as much as it is the value of the U.S. dollar going down. The dollar just doesn't buy what it used to. I mean, we all have the story, Well, we're about the same age. You remember that nickel candy bar in the 70s that went up to a dime and they made it smaller? I mean, that's just the way things go during inflationary times. And as your buying power goes down, it gets harder and harder to make ends meet. But if you're invested properly, the growth in your assets will far exceed the growth in inflation, thereby increasing your buying power. So anyways, I guess the long and the short of it is, if you have a lot of cash sitting in the bank in CDs or in money funds or just in checking accounts, it's not being safe. It's not safe in that environment. And as somebody who works at a bank, I'm probably going to get an earful from the CFO for saying this, but money in the banks right now is not a good thing, frankly, because the inflation rate is making your money actually shrink. So what does this all mean? What should we do, knowing that our money in the bank or in the mattress in our house or hidden in our little portable safe is there for safe, just to protect us in the future or whatever, and we realize that every time we look at it, even though the pile hasn't changed in terms of its height, what it can buy has gone down. What you can do is you need to be, buying hard assets, and one hard asset is real estate. And another element to it is when you're buying real estate, and if you're buying it with debt, at least in some form, a portion of it, let's say 20% down and you borrow 80%, even though your interest rate is 6% and you're paying what appears to be a very high price for the real estate, As the economy continues to move forward, inflation continues, and the value of the dollar declines, your real estate will continue to go up in value. And if you're getting more of a return on your investments than the inflation rate, you're actually paying your mortgage with cheaper money. So in theory, you can win on both ends. You can win with the real estate value going up, and you can win with the money used to pay your mortgage being cheaper. So you can acquire more cash more cheaply and pay off your loan. That's, by the way, that's what the government's trying to do. They have a $37 or $38 trillion debt that they're trying to get their arms around. And the best way to do it is to inflate their way out of it, as they say. And by that, I mean exactly what I just described, and that is you invest in things that are going to create a return that's greater than the rate of return that you would get if the cash was just idle. And also, it's better than inflation. If you're doing that, hard assets, gold, silver, that's a good example. The run-up in real estate, it's pretty obvious, I think, for everybody to see that real estate, gold, silver, platinum, and other hard assets have all gone up. They've had meteoric rises. And why? And it's simply because that's where you need to be to hedge against the inflationary challenges that we face today. So I guess in summary, I would say, I think that if you're on the fence about buying real estate for either prices are too high, interest rates are too high, both of them should not discourage you from doing it. You should be going for it no matter what, because down the line, you're going to be, every day that passes with inflation, the amount of money that you have is declining unless it's actually working better than inflation. So that's kind of my theme for the day.
Well, it's a great theme, and I'm thinking of my oldest brother, Rick Solano, who has a book out there. It's been out there for, give him a plug, The Secrets to Success and Millionaire Mentality. And one of his sayings was, you buy land by the acre and sell it by the lot. You buy whiskey by the barrel and sell it by the shot. And there's a lot of truth to that. And it's something that, when you're looking at real estate. But in the last 2-3 minutes we have, I'm going to counter with this new phenomenon, if you will, over the past few years that I really don't have a great understanding of, and that is, in fact, Bitcoin and Dogecoin, all the stuff on this grid. So, how does that cryptocurrency impact where people are going to put their money?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Doge, all that stuff, I don't really understand it, and I don't pretend to. I don't own it either, and that's because I don't understand it. If I don't understand something, I just stay away. I have a nephew who's big on it and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I can tell you about digital currency is it's more likely than not that the world governments, the U.S. government, so basically all governments ultimately are going to go to a digital currency kind of format. They want to go there sooner rather than later, and that will mean that greenbacks won't be useful in commerce anymore, which scares the daylights out of me, because if I have to use my digital account for all my transactions, that means they know every move I make, and with the ability to in real time come to conclusions about trends and all that kind of stuff. How Google, if you're checking things on Google, they know what you're doing, and they immediately try to sell you stuff that you're looking for. I mean, it's a pretty scary thought to know that people know what's going on in my head almost as fast as I do. And anyway, so I'm a little bit worried about that whole digital thing. But I will tell you that because of this so-called blockchain technology,
Mm-hmm.
this is the one thing I do know about it, is that there's a finite amount of Bitcoin. It can't go beyond that. And that compared to a fiat currency, that being like the U.S. dollar, which is not backed by anything other than the full faith and credit of the U.S. government, has value. I mean, that's why people flow into gold and silver. They're in there because they figure, if I have this, it's tangible, and if I need, if the U.S. dollar kind of craps out on us, I know how I can get by. I can start transacting in gold and silver if I have to. That's not going to be the case in the digital currency environment. However, the blockchain technology and the finite number of Bitcoins that are out there will make that more reality than I'm willing to accept at this point in my life.
Wow. Well, we'll carry this conversation over into next week, God willing. And Paul Crowley, Riverworks Credit Union, I want to thank you for being on. We're going to wind down, but go Patriots, and thanks for the insightful analysis.
Thank you, Paul.
Be well, my friend. We'll catch up with you soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, I want our listeners to stay tuned to WATD for the memories with Ron Dwyer, the grand poobah of oldies rock and roll. Ron, you are a true leader of the pack with great musical memories of yesteryear, so thank you, Ron. Thanks again to Tim, Arthur, Shelley, Gene, Paul, and our advertisers, but really thank you, listeners in WATD world and beyond. Keep on Paul pondering. Stay safe in your travels. #Indeed.